Another Operation Lone Star soldier dies, and another one almost did, amid a morale crisis involving this mission. Absolutely terrible. A Texas National Guard soldier assigned to the state's mission at its border with Mexico, dubbed Operation Lone Star, accidentally shot and killed himself in an alcohol-related incident Saturday. That's horrible. Another survived a suicide attempt during the week between Christmas and New Year's Day. Probably because they're suffering intolerable conditions deployed away from their family in the United States, according to the initial incident reports obtained by Army Times. Now, if you're like me, you might be thinking, how could it be so bad on a deployment in CONUS, the continental United States? How could the Army let things get so bad that soldiers are dying there because of the conditions? Because the conditions are so bad, people are turning to alcohol, they're getting depressed, they're acting out, they've been kept away for months from their families in CONUS. How could this situation have gotten so bad? Well, there's a multifaceted problem going on. Let's talk about some of the issues. The morale crisis among troops at the border, many of whom are there via long-term unit-wide involuntary activations, led Joint Task Force Lone Star's chaplains to initiate a force-wide morale survey. Army Times previously reported a series of suicide deaths linked to the mission whose soldiers are suffering from issues with living conditions and pay. You know, in the military, when you ask people to up and leave their family and their homes on short notice to go who knows where, to do who knows what, one of the highest, and I've said this on the show before, one of the highest causes of stress is pay issues. When people are having, when troops are having pay issues and they feel like their home base, their actual family where they live is not being supported, it's almost impossible for them to succeed and be doing a good job on their actual mission that they are on. I've seen this myself so many times. I feel like anybody who's deployed, anybody who's been a leader in the military, when you've been away from home, has experienced this because pay issues are pretty rampant among the military. Approximately 10,000 members of the Texas National Guard and Texas State Guard and official state militia are either on the border or supporting the effort from other locations in the state, according to a November operations order obtained by Army Times. The soldiers are supporting the Texas Department of Public Safety under the control of Governor Greg Abbott, and Texas officials say they are in a state active duty status attempting to stem human and drug trafficking. Fiscal year 2021 saw an all-time record level of Border Patrol apprehensions along the U.S.-Mexico border. So we know that the surges at the border are, you see it in the news every day, at crisis levels, never seen before, people flowing across with, and that includes human trafficking, drug smuggling, all of that, people from all different countries and backgrounds. So the Army has been deployed down there to stand post and observe and report anything that they see that looks like migrants crossing. Texas Military Department officials did not immediately respond to questions submitted by Army Times on Monday evening. Operation Lone Star is a distinct state-run effort with no operational connection to the federally controlled National Guard Task Force on the border, which Army Times investigated in December. So these are two missions acting in tandem that both seem to be equally in disaster states. The suicide attempt occurred on December 28th, according to documents obtained by Army Times. An infantry NCO assigned to one of JTF Lone Star's subordinate task forces cut his wrists in his hotel room near McAllen, Texas. Man, insane that it would come to that. In CONUS, 4 soldiers from his unit responded quickly enough to gain access to his room and slow the bleeding until paramedics arrived. The NCO was recovering. But less than an hour after midnight on New Year's Day, so basically, New Year's Eve, you're drinking, it becomes midnight, it's like 12:30 in the morning. This is when this happens. A junior enlisted soldier from the same mobilized unit, 3rd Battalion, 141st Infantry, died off duty at a friend's house when he shot himself in the head with his personal weapon. The incident was alcohol-related. I don't know what the circumstances were, if they were playing with the gun, cleaning the gun, Russian roulette, something like that. I don't know. Local authorities are investigating the McAllen shooting to definitively determine the soldier's cause of death. The morale survey initiated by the chaplains 2 days later on Monday asks each of the soldiers assigned to JTF Lone Star to rate their motivation on a scale of 1 to 10, according to the screenshots of the questions. The survey asks troops who report low motivation why that's the case and directs them towards spiritual and mental health resources. How about redirect those results to people who are interested in helping? How about leaders who want to help, which we're going to talk about in a minute? In recent weeks, news reports and former senior Texas National Guard personnel have focused attention on the conditions affecting the morale of soldiers deployed to the border with JTF Lone Star. When the mission expanded last year from a small volunteer effort to a mass mobilization, issues with hardship requests and rapid deployment notices left many soldiers struggling after being asked to drop their civilian lives for an extended period of time. In some cases, troops were only given days' notice, which is rough. That's the story of being National Guard. You get mobilized for natural disasters, unrest, civil unrest, things like that. So you're always dealing with the possibility of being deployed quickly. You should be protected from losing your job or anything like that while you're away, but it doesn't protect you from stresses like family problems at home, financial issues that you're already, burdened by, and any other mental health or personal stress or physical health issues that you're going through. Texas leaders ordered units to issue arrest warrants for troops who don't report or who go AWOL from the mission. So people have just been up and leaving the mission, and they've had to issue arrest warrants for that. They haven't said how many people have had the arrest warrants or how many have been arrested or anything like that. So we just have to assume it's enough to make note of in this article. Systemic pay issues have impacted troops there as well, due to the massive influx of Guard troops onto the state payroll. For human resource purposes, they are temporary state employees, meaning that the increase in troops on a mission overwhelmed the systems. So now they're doing all this work and they're in these terrible conditions and are not getting paid. From a benefits perspective, long-term state active duty orders do not provide federal education benefits, Veterans Affairs disability coverage, or credit towards the troops' federal National Guard retirements. The Texas Military Department also recently slashed state tuition assistance benefits for its troops by 54%, retroactive to the beginning of the fall 2021 semester. The former top NCO in the Texas Army National Guard, retired Command Sergeant Major Jason Featherston, posted a video to Twitter depicting the cramped living quarters on the mission's base camps, which are converted RV and semi-truck trailers. So this video that we're about to watch is where people are living, on this mission.
There's people sleeping in there.
Look at that. You've got a row of maybe 4 layers of racks stacked 4, maybe 5 high. If you've ever been on a ship, a Navy ship, imagine this is more cramped than a Navy ship is what I'm looking at. Imagine that. More cramped with less living space than on a Navy ship.
There's people sleeping in there.
Maybe that was a ladder. Maybe I correct myself. 3 high with like a ladder to get up and down. So racks 3 high. So just like a ship. Basically just like a ship, only it actually does look smaller. You have less room for personal space. This is in Texas. This is in CONUS. It's unbelievable. Featherston has also spoken out about a purported lack of cold weather equipment, which means they're out there in the cold, freezing at night. It gets really cold out in the desert at night. Body armor, first aid kits, and even portable toilets. Portable toilets, they don't even have toilets. The majority of troops along the border have a repetitive daily task: manning observation posts along the Rio Grande, looking for groups of migrants, and then calling the state troopers or border patrol to interdict and apprehend them. Some guardsmen are actively participating in arresting migrants for trespassing, which is allowed because more than 100 landowners have authorized the state to do so. I don't know how all this works. Not going to go into all that. Critics of the mission have argued there are more troops along the border than necessary, accusing Governor Abbott of sending them there in a political posturing effort against more conservative rivals challenging him in the March Republican gubernatorial primary. So listen to that again. They're saying that Governor Abbott of Texas is doing this to out-conservative other conservative competition of his. Politicians of all ideological bents are criticizing the turn Operation Lone Star has taken in recent months. Army Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, who is, left the Army in a less than popular or less than good standing, called on the Texas Guard's top general to resign or be fired on Tuesday. Major General Tracy Norris, if you have any honor, integrity, or character whatsoever, you should immediately submit your resignation, West said. If not, Abbott should relieve her of command or replace her with Brigadier General Moni Ulis, who is currently the leading JTF Lone Star. The frontrunner for the Democratic nomination in Texas, Beto O'Rourke, also criticized Abbott in a pair of articles. And this is in regards to the suicide, death, alcohol-related incidents, all that stuff of people out there. So this whole situation going on the border of Texas sounds horrible for the National Guard out there. And I just want to draw some attention to it and say, hey, National Guard out there in Texas, I hope you're doing well. If you have anything you want to talk about, if you have anything you think people should know, write me at thescuttlebuttshow@gmail.com, or you can come on the show and I'll share that with people. If you're going through something out there, a crisis of circumstance in Texas as part of Operation Lone Star, I would love to hear what's going on. So maybe we can spread some information and get some help for people out there, or maybe draw some attention to it at least. So yeah, let me know. Please hit me up. I'd love to hear from you. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching that clip from our live show. We're live right here on YouTube, Sunday through Thursday, 1800 Pacific Standard Time. If you want, come on by, join the chat. I'd love to hear from you. If you like that video and you want to see more, consider checking out this video right here or subscribing to the channel with this button right here. I look forward to talking to you really soon. I'm out for now.